in listen-only mode.
Greetings everyone and welcome in this webinar. Today we will be discussing about the concepts and the components of a health and safety management system. My name is Suzana Ayete, the PECB organizer of this webinar, and the guest for today is Mr. Raza Shah, PECB Certified Trainer, who is a senior consultant, trainer and coach in occupational health and safety. Please write your questions and comments in the question box in the right-hand control panel, and Mr. Shah will answer to them accordingly. Moreover, if you want to participate directly with Mr. Shah in the discussion, you can also raise your hand, and then we will unmute you so you can make your questions directly to him. Please, Mr. Shah, you may start the presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Susanna. I am Raza Shah from Pakistan. I am lead editor for ISO 9000, ISO 14000, OHSAS 18000, and I am advanced editor for SA 8000. Today we are going to discuss some basic component of health and safety. Throughout this seminar, we will discuss the basic concepts of occupational health and safety based on OHSAS 18001, and after this you will be able to understand the concepts and components of health and safety management system, and we will discuss the basic structure of occupational health and safety OHSAS 18001. So first of all, we will define the health and safety management system. Basically, the meaning of the health and safety management system means which an organization control risk through management process. How an organization control the risk through its management. And it is the part of the overall management system that facilitates the management of occupational health and safety risk associated with the business of the organization. This includes organization structure, planning, activities, responsibilities, practices, procedures, processes, resources for developing and achieving, reviewing and maintaining the organization occupational health and safety policy. So it includes planning and activities, responsibilities, practices, procedure, processes, resources, and reviewing and maintaining the occupational health and safety policy. So this is basically the based on the system approach. The system approach consists of the four elements. The four elements common to general system theories are input, processes, output, and feedback. Systems are normally are also closed and begin either open or closed. Open system interact with the external environment and is subject to external influences. Closed systems do not interact with the environment, and so their ability to adopt or respond to changing internal condition is limited. So there are two types of the system. One is the open system, which change according to the external environment, and the second is the closed system, which do not have the ability to change according to the external environment. So better is that you have an open system which can be changed according to the requirements of the external environment. And if we see this slide, this is showing the system approach. System approach started with input, then some processes, and then after this process some output comes, and then feedback, and then again input. So it is a continuous process starting from input and then processes and then output and feedback. And this system approach is taken place within the organization, and external environment have also impact on this system approach. We cannot take this system without the impact of the external approach, external environment. So this is the whole system approach. Most of you are familiar with this approach, and you can see this is a continuous process. Arrows are showing that it is not ending anywhere, and the whole organization have impact on this approach, this system, and external environment has also impact on this approach. So you can see on this slide some key elements of health and safety management system. These are starting from the policy, and then organizing, and then planning and implementation, and then measuring performance and reviewing performance. And for every element we have a check and balance system through audit. For every element we are doing the audit. So it is starting from the policy and ending with the reviewing the performance. And for each element we are performing the audit. So this is the basic elements of any health and safety management system. You have to define the policies, you have to organize the structure, and you have to plan the system and implement it, and you have to measure the performance, and then you have to review the performance. And you can see this is also a continuous process. The arrows are going upward, and you can change the policy, and even you can change the organization, or you can change the plan according to the requirement. So this is also a continuous process. So if we see, you can see the elements step by step. The first element is the policy. Policy is basically effective health and safety policies set a clear direction for the organization to follow. So policies are basically guidelines, what is to do or what is not to do. So these are the policies for health and safety policies that give direction to the organization, which organization have to follow, that what we can do and what we cannot do. And the next element in this slide is the organizing. So if we see that it is coming after the policy. So an effective management structure and arrangements are in place for delivering the policy. So organizing is basically the arrangement and structure for delivering the policy. What we have said in the policy, through organizing and structuring, we will implement or deliver these policies. And the next, you can see the next element is the planning. And planning is basically, there is a planned and systematic approach to implement the health and safety policy through an effective health and safety management system. So in this element, we plan and implement health and safety policies through effective health and safety management system. So we to implement the policy and to get the desired result, we in this section we manage the things to implement the health and safety management system. And if you see the next element, measuring performance, you can see in this element, performance is measured against agreed standard to reveal when and where improvement is needed. So we measure and compare the actual performance with the set standards, or and we see if there is any deviation. We eliminate this deviation and improve the system to get the desired results or objectives. So in this element, we just compare what we have set an objective or requirement and what is actually is going on. And if there is any difference, we deviate this difference. And if you see the next slide, this is audit. And auditing of the performance, the organization learns from all relevant experience and applies the lessons. So we learn at each stage and through each element, even by doing the setting of the policies, during the organizing, during the planning and implementation, during measuring performance, during reviewing the performance, we perform the audit and get information to improve our overall health and safety management system. So these are the basic elements on which this health and management system is composed of. And now, if we see on the next slide, this is an overall structure of Occupational Health and Safety Standard 18001, OHSAS 18001, and the elements are the same as we have discussed in the previous slides. The first element, if you see the diagram, it is Occupational Health and Safety Policy, and the second is the planning, and the third is the implementation and operations, and the fourth is the checking and corrective action, and the fifth is the management review. And this is the continuous circle, and it will keep on improving. It will not stop anywhere. It will keep on improving. We will try with the passage of time to improve our health and safety management system, and we can improve the policies, we can improve our plan, we can improve the implementation and operations, and we can improve checking and corrective action, and we can review the things to how we can improve the things. So this is if you can compare this slide with the previous slides, the Occupational Health and Safety OHSAS 18000 standard have the same element as we have discussed in the previous slides. And these are the classes starting from 1 to 5, Occupational Health and Safety Policy, and planning and implementation and operations, and checking and corrective action, and management review. So these are the classes of the OHSAS 18001. So this standard OHSAS 18001 was produced in 1999, and this was produced by the several organizations from which were some were from the UK and some were internationally, and the main organization was the BSEI. So the management system model used in OHSAS 18001 is the ISO 14000 model. So the model of the OHSAS is the basically the model of the ISO 14001, which is the standard for the environmental management system. So as a specification, OHSAS 18001 lists a number of management system requirements using shall statement, such as the organization shall establish and maintain documented health and safety objectives at each relevant function and level within the organization. So throughout this standard, it has set some specific requirements which an organization have to meet if if an organization want to implement this standard in its premises. So it have to fulfill these requirements, and these requirements are stated by the word shall. after 1999, there is other standard OHSAS 18002. This is produced in 2000, and this is basically the guidance for the implementation of OHSAS 18001. So this document describes the intent, typically inputs, processes, and typically output against each requirement of OHSAS. Purpose is to add the understanding and implementation of 18001. So OHSAS 18002 is the guideline. It helps and facilitates in understanding the requirement of ISO 18001. So once again, you can see the same elements: policy, organizing, planning and implementation, measuring performance, reviewing performance, and audit. And if we if we want to know the detail, this is the slide about health and safety policy. And occupational health and safety policy establish an overall sense of direction and set the principles of action for an organization. It sets goals for the level of occupational health and safety responsibility and performance required for. It demonstrates the formal commitment towards good occupational health and safety management, particularly that of the organization top management. So policy basically give us the guideline that what we have to do related to the occupational health and safety management system. So this is the same slide, and now we can see another element. This is the planning for health and safety management. Planning for health and safety management involves identifying the requirements for the system, what need to be done, setting clear performance criteria, what is to be done, identifying who is responsible, who gets it done, setting time scales, when it should be done, identifying the desired outcome, what should be results. So in the planning, we have to answer all these questions: what need to be done, what is to be done, who gets it done, when it should be done, what should be the results. So in planning of occupational health and safety, we describe all these things. And occupational health and safety and BS 8800 standards identify three key areas which need to be addressed in the planning stage. So at the planning stage, we have to address these three areas, and one is the risk assessment and management. So the intent of this requirement is so that the organization can appreciate all significant occupational health and safety hazards facing it using the process of risk management. And second is the legal requirement. The organization should identify all legal requirements applicable to it as well as any other industry or company specific requirements to which it subscribes. And third is the health and safety objectives and programs. Health and safety objectives are defined as the goals in terms of health and safety performance that an organization set itself to achieve and should be quantified wherever practicable. So in planning, we have to focus on these three requirements: risk assessment management, and the second is the legal requirements, and the third is the objectives and programs. So during the planning, we have to take care of these three requirements. And for the implementation and operations, we need to define the roles and responsibilities. So roles and responsibilities should be defined at all levels within the organization. People need to be aware of their roles and responsibilities. Individual occupational health and safety responsibilities should be clearly defined. All personnel should be given the authority and resources necessary to carry out their responsibilities. So the roles and responsibilities of each and every person should be defined related to the occupational health and safety. These roles and responsibilities should be appropriate. Arrangement should exist whereby people are held accountable for discharging their responsibilities. Reporting relationship should be clear and unambiguous. Where personal appraisal system exists, occupational health and safety responsibilities should be included. So in the role and responsibilities, the reporting system should be clear and appropriate arrangement should be available, and there should also be given the authority required to fulfill the responsibilities related to occupational health and safety. The next element we are going to discuss is the training and competence. The organization should have effective procedure for ensuring the competence of personnel to carry out their designated functions. Systematic identification of the competencies required by each employee. Provision of training identified as being necessary. Assessment of an individual to ensure that they have acquired and maintained the knowledge and skills necessary for the level of the competence required. The maintenance of appropriate training skills records. So, for occupational health and safety management system implementation, the competency criteria and training requirements should be fulfilled properly, and each and every person should be trained on the occupational health and safety concepts and skills, and the records of these trainings should be maintained properly. The next element is related to consultation and communication. The organization should encourage participation in process of consultation and communication. This involves identifying and receiving relevant occupational health and safety information from outside the organization, including new or amendments to legislations, information necessary for the identification of hazards, and evaluation and control of risk. So, information and development in occupational health and safety management practice, ensuring that pertinent occupational health and safety information is communicated to all people in the organization who need it. This requires arrangements to ensure that information does not just flow from top down but also from the bottom up. Avoiding restricting occupational health and safety item to dedicated occupational health and safety meeting. Report hazards and shortcomings in occupational health and safety arrangements. Ensuring that relevant information is communicated to people outside the organization who require it. Encouraging feedback and suggestion from employee on occupational health and safety matters. There should be properly arrangement for communication and consultation, and communication and consultation should not be only from upward to downward, but also from downward to upward, and also for peer to peer. So this is the communication and consultation. The next topic we are going to discuss is about the documentation. The organization should document and maintain up-to-date sufficient documentation on its occupational health and safety management system. Like other ISO standards, it also requires documentation, and the documentation should be maintained up-to-date, sufficient, according to the requirement of the Occupational Health and Safety Management System. This requirement is analogous to Regulation 7 of the Courier Regulation 99, which requires the production of health and safety documentation. So the whole system of the occupational health and safety should be properly documented. And next is the operation control. This element, the organization should establish and maintain arrangement to ensure that activities are carried out safely. These arrangements should be based on the results of the risk assessment and any health and safety objectives that have been defined. The organization should also plan and prepare for all feasible foreseeable accidents, incident and emergency situations. So the basic intent of this element that the organization activities should be in the safe manner, and there should be no accident or no danger in practice. So we have discussed some basic concept of this diagram, and now we are going to discuss the measuring and performance. So the key purpose of measuring performance are to determine whether occupational health and safety plans have been implemented and objectives achieved, check that risk control measures are in place and are effective, learn from system failures such as area of non-compliance, accident and incidents, promote the implementation of plans and risk control by providing feedback to all parties, provide information that can be used to review and if necessary to improve aspects of occupational health and safety management system. So in this section we have to take care that we learn from the failure and we make the things in a safe manner. So if you see this slide, an organization's performance measures system should incorporate both active and reactive monitoring data. So for the proper implementation of the occupational health and safety management system in the organization, we have to consider both the active and reactive monitoring of the data. And now we will discuss some examples of active measuring systems. Active measuring system used to check compliance with the organization occupational health activities. Examples of active monitoring data are the extent to which plans and objectives have been set and achieved. Whether a director for occupational health and safety has been appointed. These are some examples. Whether a safety policy has been published, the numbers trained in occupational health and safety, number of risk assessment completed, extent of the compliance with risk controls, extent of the compliance with statutory requirements, frequency of occupational health and safety audits, frequency and effectiveness of occupational health and safety committee meeting, occupational specialist reports, health surveillance reports, workplace exposure levels, personal protective equipment use. So these are all active measuring system examples. And there are also some reactive monitoring system examples. and these we can see reactive monitoring systems should be used to investigate, analyze, and record occupational health and safety management system failure, including unsafe conditions, lost time accident, major accident and fatalities, sickness absence, criticism made by regulatory agency staff, complaints made by members of the public. So these are some reactive monitoring system data. And the next element we are going to discuss is the measuring performance, and it is related to the investigating accident and incident. Organization should have procedure for both reporting and investigating of accident and incidents. The prime purpose of these procedures should be to prevent further occurrence of the situation by identifying and dealing with the root cause. So if there is any accident or incident, we must have a procedure to investigate it, and we should find the root cause and take appropriate corrective and preventive actions to eliminate these root cause. So we are covering this diagram by element to element, and now we are going to discuss the next element, which is related to the audit. So auditing, occupational health and safety auditing is a process whereby an organization can review and continually evaluate the effectiveness of their occupational health and management system. Safety auditing is a positive and proactive means of checking the safety performance of an organization. So by auditing, we can check the effectiveness of occupational health and safety management system, and through auditing, safety auditing, we can measure the performance of the safety system of an organization. So we have to develop a schedule for audits, and scheduling an annual plan should be prepared for carrying out internal safety audits. So we have to develop a plan for internal safety audits on an annual basis or biannual basis, or what frequency suited to the organization. And management support to be of value, senior management should be fully committed to the concept of auditing and its effective implementation within the organization. So the audit activity should be well supported by the top management to get the good results, and top management should be well familiar about the auditing practices and its benefits and its importance. Audits provide a comprehensive and formal assessment of the organization compliance with occupational health and safety procedures and practices. The end results of an audit should include a detailed written assessment of occupational health and safety procedure, the levels of compliance with procedures and the practices, and should, where necessary, identify corrective actions. So at the end of the audit, there should be some written document, normally a report or some procedures that show the deficiencies of the occupational health and safety management system and areas to improve. Auditors, who are the auditors? One or more person may undertake audits. A team approach may widen the involvement and improve cooperations. They should be independent of the part of the organization or the activity that is to be audited. So auditor can be a person or more than one person, and he or they should be independent of the part of the organization or the activity that is to be audited. And during the audit, we collect the data collection and interpretation. Relevant documents should be examined. This may include occupational health, and so we have to examine the documents related to the occupational health and safety management system during the audit, and these documents may include occupational health and safety management system documentation, occupational health and safety policy statement, occupational health and safety emergency procedures, permit to work system and procedures, minutes of the occupational health and safety meetings, accident incident reports and their records, training records, reports of communication with the enforcing authorities. And finally, we have to dwell the audit results. At the end of the audit and before submitting their report, the auditor or audit team should hold a meeting with responsible manager of the audited area. So before submitting the report and at the end of the audit, you should have a meeting with your auditee. The main purpose of such a meeting is to communicate the results of the audit to the responsible manager in order to ensure that it is understood and agreement is reached. So the auditee should be well understood about the results of the audit or the non-conforming auditor is going to be raised. And at the end of the audit, there should be an audit report which is should be submitted to the client, and the contents of the audit report should, depending on the case, contain the following elements: the audit objective and scope, the particle of the audit plan, the identification of the members of the auditing team and the audited representative, dates of the audits, and the identification of the areas subjected to audit. The identification of reference handbooks used to conduct the audit, the cases of non-conformances, the auditor assessment of the degree of conformity to Occupational Health and Safety 18,001, the ability of the Occupational Health and Safety Management System to achieve the stated occupational health and objective. An audit report can help the organization to improve its occupational health and safety management system. So this is a presentation for today, and in which we have gone through some basic component and concept of health and safety management system and covered some elements of OHSAS 18001. So for today it is okay.
Yes,
That's
Mr.
all.
Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We have some questions, so if you could possibly answer them, that would be very good. So the first question is, what ISO standard could be implemented or combined with OHSAS 18001 in order to achieve better results within the company?
Yes, definitely you can merge the other ISO standard with occupational health and safety standard, because if we see the other standard and this standard, there are some clauses which are common, and even during the this presentation, you have seen that the OHSAS standard is based on the ISO 14000 model. So we can merge these standards and get the better results, because many the clauses are the common among different standards.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. It says, according to your experience, what are some of the advantages that the organization gains after the implementation of 18001?
Yeah, the main benefit of this organization is the a safe working place for the workers. We believe that the workers are a real asset of an organization, and if workers have the good working environment and a safe working environment, they can perform better, and the productivity and effectiveness of the organization will enhance. And if there is some accident, or there is some poor working environment or work arrangement, and the performance and productivity of the worker will decline. So if the working place is good and safe, the worker will be in a better position to contribute to the organization.
Okay, thank you. One more question. It says, at what interval or stage in safety management system is safety auditing carried out?
Pardon?
At what interval or stage in safety management system is safety auditing carried out?
Safety management system audit?
Yes. So basically the question is, at what interval or stage according to the safety management system does the auditing happen?
When you have implemented the requirements of the OHSAS 18001,
yes,
you should perform internal audit first to evaluate the effectiveness of your system. So normally within a year you should perform the internal audit. And if you think the system is mature, you can go for the external audit also.
Okay. What qualifications or certification qualifies someone to become an HSE auditor?
There are not any specific requirements set by this standard. However, one should be well familiar with the industry, or he should have the necessary experience and knowledge of the industry. But it varies from industry to industry and from person to person. So maybe where the risks are not very high, there is not required a lot of experience. But in the industries where the risk is very high, there are a lot of experience, and education qualification is required, like oil industry, gas industry, and other industries. There must be very competent person who is taking in responsibility of health and safety. But in the simple industries, there is not any tough requirement for the health and safety persons. So it depends on the industry to industry.
Thank you. What is the typical timeline for developing all of the occupational health safety management system procedures for smaller organizations?
It can be done within 3 to 6 months. A company with the help of some consultant, or if someone is knowledgeable in the organization, it can implement this system within 3 to 6 months for a smaller organization.
Okay. One last question. It says, how important is the internal training?
Internal training is very important because as the standard is saying that everybody in the organization should be well aware about the occupational health and safety. So it is very main requirement of the standard, and logically as it is the matter of the life of the persons, so we should not compromise on this element, and we should provide training to each and everyone within the organization, and it is also the requirement of the standard. So we have to take special care of the internal trainings.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shah, for this great presentations. I want to thank all of the attendees as well for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. We hope you enjoyed this webinar. We received all of your questions, and because the time is limited, we will answer to your questions individually by email. Please check PECB's webinar schedule for the upcoming webinars or our official social media network, since next week we are organizing webinars on interesting topics. Next Tuesday, we are hosting a webinar on the topic Emergency Preparedness and Response. Thank you very much.